At the beginning of this century, a first-line regimen to keep a person alive with HIV cost up to $15,000 a year. Today, that same treatment is procured for under $45. The price plummeted by more than 200-fold. A similar collapse occurred with hepatitis C. The cure originally launched at an international list price of $84,000. By licensing local generic manufacturers, Egypt drove that price below $100. Yet in highly efficient modern systems, the trend has reversed. Aravind Eye Care runs one of the most streamlined surgical systems in the world, but its cost per cataract operation rose from roughly 15,000 rupees in 2012 to 23,000 in 2023. This graph contrasts the steep decay of those miracle cures against the GeneXpert tuberculosis cartridge. Instead of falling, the cartridge price stagnated for 11 years, taking over a decade to drop a mere $9. The passage of time does not make medicine cheaper. Technology alone, without a specialized operating system to drive it, actually causes price drops to stall. People often look at these collapses and cite Moore's law, but Gordon Moore was describing the density of transistors on an integrated circuit, not the economics of a medical procedure. The rule that actually dictates these price drops was observed in 1936 by an aeronautical engineer named T.P. Wright. This is Wright's law. Every time the cumulative production of aircraft doubled, the labor required for each plane fell by roughly 20%. The reduction was not tied to the calendar. It occurred when the volume of units doubled. Healthcare is not immune to this law, but a compounding cost collapse does not happen by accident. It has to be actively manufactured. Cost falls on a counter of repeated volume, never on a clock of passing time. To trigger Wright's law, a system must first standardize the care it provides. Healthcare cannot be optimized as a monolith, because healthcare is not one thing. Before cost can compound downward, the system must isolate a specific, repeatable unit. A tablet, a cataract operation, or a diagnostic panel can be a unit. The first unit carries the cost of every mistake and every idle machine. By the millionth unit, waste is gone, workers are faster, and fixed costs are spread over enormous volume. But the market often fails to sustain this loop. Competition without guaranteed volume creates fragile companies that cannot survive long enough to learn. Conversely, volume without competition merely protects the profit margins of whoever got there first. China solved this through volume-based procurement. By contractually attaching massive annual demand to a single tender, coronary stent prices plummeted from 10,000 yuan to under 700. Suppliers traded large margins for predictable volume, transferring the benefit directly to the patient's savings. A forecast tells a manufacturer what a buyer hopes will happen. A procurement guarantee allows a manufacturer to plan capacity and slash costs before they even begin. FDA data shows that while one generic competitor reduces price by 39%, true market compression requires 4 to 6 entrants to drive the price down by 95% or more. Structural price drops follow a guarantee. Someone must make the volume credible to start the learning curve. Even with guaranteed demand, medical volume hits a physical limit, the availability of human specialists. India has roughly 1 radiologist per 100,000 people. In rural centers, the shortfall for surgeons is over 80%. Training more clinicians is essential, but won't solve the distribution problem. Doctors behave like real estate. They stay concentrated where economic conditions are most attractive. Software, however, distributes like electricity. It is instant and ubiquitous. In Sweden's Masai trial, over 100,000 women were randomized between AI-supported and conventional mammography screening. The AI reduced the workload for radiologists by 44%, while actually improving the detection of interval cancers. Software is not replacing doctors across all of medicine. Its economic value is more practical. A scarce specialist no longer needs to review every routine case. The ophthalmologist can focus on patients requiring surgery instead of screening every healthy retina. This divergence is the key. Cognitive screening is shifting from a rising wage curve to a deflating semiconductor cost curve. The cost of a repeatable healthcare task can now improve independently of the local supply of specialists. A system only handles exponential volume when scarce cognitive time is removed from the standardized unit. The final component of the engine involves the value trapped inside existing hospital equipment. Consider surgical robotics. Globally, there is an installed base of over 11,000 Da Vinci systems. On average, these machines perform little more than one procedure per day. Compare this to aviation. An airline could not survive by flying an aircraft for 1 hour and parking it for 23. Aviation economics depend on keeping expensive metal in the air. Otherwise, the airline would go bankrupt. Hospitals, however, routinely treat idle operating theaters and surgical robots as an unavoidable feature of medicine rather than an operational failure. Narayana Health operates differently. They focus on the rhythm of the machine. Through sequential scheduling and 6-day operating weeks, they spread fixed capital costs across vastly higher throughput, making the technology affordable without a scientific breakthrough. Surgery becomes inexpensive through intense asset utilization, not just by waiting for autonomous robotics. Traditional healthcare operators are struggling to accept a coming market inversion. Healthcare does not become affordable because an operator accepts low profits. It becomes affordable when the high-throughput model becomes the economically stronger business. Look at the compounding loop. Cost leadership attracts more demand. More demand systematically fills capacity. Fuller capacity reduces the cost per unit, which creates room to lower prices even further. This loop drives faster organizational learning than any competitor can match. Pharmacy is reorganizing around aggregators who consolidate demand, rather than companies simply manufacturing generics. Consolidating procurement creates the purchasing power required to slash margins. In diagnostics, logistics and centralization will outpace geographic proximity. Hub-and-spoke networks move the work to central hubs, where machines can run longer and quality systems are spread across more samples. We are moving past the general hospital with its 200-item menu. The future belongs to focused healthcare factories that execute a single standardized pathway 10,000 times. But volume alone is not a business. The digital platform Babbel reached millions in Rwanda, but ultimately collapsed. They made the front door efficient without holding a claim on the diagnostics, medicines, or downstream treatment. Moore's law will not arrive in Indian healthcare automatically. Costs will collapse only when standard units, procurement guarantees, software, and utilization are relentlessly manufactured together.